Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, I am Rarazajang Pradawi NPM 234120008 from Accounting 23A. Today, I'm going to talk about intercompany acquisitions and investments in other entities. Let's begin. Intercompany acquisitions and investments in other entities. Acquisition is the process of taking control of a company by another company, which can happen for various strategic reasons, such as market expansion or efficiency improvement. Meanwhile, investment in other entities refers to the placement of capital in another company to gain an advantage or influence in that company. Both concepts are important as they are part of a company's growth strategy and can affect the financial and market position of the companies involved. Form of acquisition. Intercompany acquisitions can be distinguished by type, namely horizontal, vertical, and conglomerate. Horizontal acquisitions occur between companies in the same or similar industries, aiming to enlarge market share or reduce competition. Vertical acquisitions involve companies in the same supply or distribution chain, with the aim of improving control over costs and operations. Meanwhile, conglomerate acquisitions occur between companies in different industries, with the aim of diversifying risks and expanding markets. In all cases, acquisitions are made to achieve synergies, which result in higher value than the value of each entity separately. Type of investment in other entities. 3 types of investments, based on the company's level of influence and control over other entities. Minority investments less than 20%. Use the cost method, where the company only records dividends received without direct influence over the decisions of the invested entity. Significant investments between 20% and 50%. Use the equity method, where the company records its share of profits and losses of the entity. As for majority ownership, more than 50%, the company will consolidate the acquired entity's financial statements, bringing together all assets, liabilities, and income in the consolidated financial statements. Acquisition-related theories. Acquisitions can be understood through several theories that help explain the motivations and outcomes of the acquisition process. Agency theory states that acquisitions are often influenced by conflicts of interest between management and company owners. Management that has an incentive to enlarge the company may choose to acquire other companies, even though the decision is not always favorable to the owners. Signaling theory suggests that acquisitions can be a positive signal to the market, indicating the strength and growth potential of the acquiring company. Meanwhile, synergy theory explains that the combined value of 2 acquiring companies will be greater than the value of the companies if they operate separately, which is the main reason for many acquisitions. Theory of investment in other entities. Investment in other entities can also be explained through various theories. Portfolio theory teaches that companies invest in other entities to diversify risk and increase financial stability. By owning shares in several companies, companies can reduce the risks associated with market fluctuations. Ownership and influence theory explains that the greater a company's ownership in other entities, the greater its influence in decision-making. Meanwhile, the consolidation theory reveals that companies that have full control over other entities, more than 50%, should combine the financial statements of these entities, which shows the importance of consolidation in investment management. Accounting methods. In accounting, there are several methods used to record investments in other entities. The cost method is used for minority investments, where the company only records the initial investment value and income received from dividends. The equity method is used for significant investments, where the company records its share of profit or loss of the invested entity, according to the ownership portion. The consolidation method is used for companies that acquire a majority stake in another entity, where the financial statements of both companies are combined to reflect the true financial condition of the group of companies. Acquisition process. The acquisition process involves several key steps. First, companies need to identify acquisition targets that match their strategic objectives. Next, due diligence is conducted, which is a thorough assessment of the financial, operational, and legal conditions of the company to be acquired. After that, the fair value of the company to be acquired should be determined to ensure a fair price. Once negotiations are complete, the payment structure must be agreed upon, whether by cash, shares, or a combination of both. Finally, the company will integrate the acquired entity into their operations and begin consolidating financial statements. Accounting and reporting implications. Accounting and reporting implications are very important in acquisitions and investments in other entities. One important concept is goodwill, which is the difference between the acquisition price and the fair value of the net assets of the acquired company. This goodwill should be tested periodically for impairment. In addition, the acquiring company must account for non-controlling interests, which is the portion of shares not owned by the acquiring company, and record transactions between entities to avoid double recognition in the consolidated financial statements. Thank you very much for your nice attention, and finally I say wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.